Hello there, Praxium students. Class is in session. In today's Holocron, we'll begin delving into the 7 forms of lightsaber combat. As we all know, saber duels are an integral part of the Star Wars mythos, being the physical embodiment of the light versus the dark. Each duel conveys power, emotion, mindset, a mastery of the Force, and a mastery of swordsmanship. Each form represents differing philosophies, and each with its respective merits. For those who are unaware of the unique and subtle contrast of these forms, let me show you. This is where the fun begins. Form 1, Shii-Cho, the Way of the Sarlacc. Also known as the Determination form, it is the oldest known form of lightsaber combat. Shii-Cho was a simplistic style that balanced traditional maneuvers intent on maiming and killing with a focus on disarming an armed foe, and was used against multiple opponents. It was a popular form among younglings and Padawans in the Jedi Order, and developed during an era of transition between standard Force-imbued metal swords to lightsabers. Lightsabers were wielded in a similar manner to swords, and many maneuvers such as attacks and parries remained relatively the same. In order to teach students to draw upon the Force rather than their natural abilities, early-level Shii-Cho blast deflect training was conducted with a blindfold, forcing the initiate to rely purely on instinct. Later on, training was conducted through the use of sequences and velocities, the continuous repetition making the moves instinctive reflexes. These training regimens were carried over to all following lightsaber combat forms, which used similar methods. The basic rules of attacks, parries, and body target zones were established by Shii-Cho combat. The Way of the Sarlacc had 2 methods of combat, which determined how these moves were executed: Ideal Form and Live Combat Form. Ideal Form 1 was mainly used in sparring, and all of the moves and maneuvers were executed at perfect horizontal or vertical angles, with attacks and parries being perpendicular to one another. The Live Combat Form was much more functional, the attacks being diagonal strikes at each respective body zone, the goal being to increase speed and reduce actual movement. The body target zones were numbered as follows: 1. Head, 2. Right arm and side, 3. Left arm and side, 4. The back, 5. Right leg, 6. The left leg. Shii-Cho swordsmanship was indeed simplistic and raw, though masters such as Kit Fisto proved it to be deadly. In the hands of the master, the blade work of Form 1 was described as like watching water flowing over the falls. Shii-Cho philosophy emphasized victory without injury, and as such, the Sun Diem mark of contact was traditionally employed by Form 1 practitioners. Keeping with the use of Sun Diem, one of the attacks utilized by Form 1 practitioners was referred to as the disarming slash, consisting of a strike directed at the opponent's weapon in an attempt to rip it out of their grasp. Another one of the techniques utilized by Shii-Cho was dubbed the Sarlacc sweep, a wide sweeping attack in which the duelist struck against multiple enemies. Other maneuvers included the basic Form 1 horizontal slash. Being the first form all younglings and Padawans learn, it is the very foundation of every other form to come. Although effective in its simplicity, as mentioned by the rogue Jedi turned Sith, Darth Kreia, the plainness of the form is also its greatest weakness. The lucidity and predictability of Form 1's attacks granted opponents complete mobility and evasiveness, especially against clumsy and shoddy blade work. Shout out to Count Dooku. A notable example of this would be how Darth Sidious easily breached through Master Fisto's defenses and killed him almost instantly. It is also common knowledge among the Order that it is not the best style for blaster deflection, nor one-on-one dueling, but it is the most well-rounded of the 7 forms, and their variations, and the best form to fall back on. While not necessarily obsolete, it was quickly replaced by Form 2, Makashi, which addressed saber-to-saber combat, which Form 1 severely lacked due to it being an experimental fighting style made before the emergence of Dark Jedi and Sith Lords. Notable users and practitioners of Shii-Cho include Jedi Masters Kit Fisto, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mitra Surik, Lucian Dre, Sindralig, Yoda, Mace Windu, as well as Jedi Knights Kento Merrick and his son Galen, previously known as Vader's apprentice, Starkiller. Vader himself also implemented Form 1 into his own variation of Form 5. Master Kenobi also taught Luke Skywalker several of Shii-Cho's velocity exercises during their flight to Alderaan. Alright students, hopefully I was able to elaborate a bit on the basics and intricacies of Shii-Cho, and set a foundation for all the ferocious and safeguarding forms to come after. Make sure you guys leave a like and a comment. Also make sure to share this video and the channel around while we pump out some more great Star Wars content for you guys, the fans. Links to our Discord, Twitter, and TikTok are all in the bio below. And always remember, my peoples, the Force will be with you, always.